So, Nando V Movies and many other amazing YouTubers came together to express their love for the X-Men franchise with a series of videos called One X-Cellent Scene. They invited everyone on YouTube to jump in and participate, and since we are still in the middle of a pandemic and I've got too much time on my hands, I thought, why not? So today I want to talk about my favorite scene in one of my favorite X-Men movies, X-Men Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past is the 2014 X-Men film directed by He Shall Not Be Named, where Wolverine has to go back in time to stop a mad scientist named Trask from experimenting on Mystique and creating the Sentinels and save the entire mutant race. So much can be said about this movie. Actually, I had a hard time picking a single scene to talk about because the movie has a lot of cool scenes. The Quicksilver iconic scene, the incredible opening action sequence, the back and forth between past and present in the third act to raise the tension, the scene between old and young Charles Xavier. Like, there is so much to love about this movie. But I think there is a specific scene that outshines every other scene, and that is Mystique's decision in the final act. Magneto has brought down an entire stadium. God, this guy is so extra. He has unleashed the Sentinels, and after pulling the White House's bunker from the ground, he's ready to execute the president and a bunch of other politicians on camera, to send a message to the humans to show them how powerful the mutants are and why they shouldn't be messed with. Mystique steps in, shoots him in the neck and stops him. But she's not done as she points a gun at Trask and is ready to make him pay for all the atrocities he's done against the mutants. Just as she's about to pull the trigger, Charles Xavier steps in and reminds her of who she is and how the mutants have to be better to show the world why they shouldn't be feared. She then decides to not execute Trask and drops the gun. The reason this scene works as well as it does, it's because it pretty much summarizes the entire franchise's main conflicts. On the surface, this movie could be seen as another good versus bad or bad is bad type of film. But looking deeper, it might actually be the most important X-Men movie ever made. While the movies before or after Days of Future Past shed light on what the X-Men are all about, a general metaphor for racism and discrimination, and while Professor X and Magneto have represented two different perspectives from the very beginning, Days of Future Past manages to contextualize the entire conflict between the humans and the mutants, but also between Professor X and Magneto, and the movie does that by placing a character who is familiar with all three parties front and center.
C'est horrible. Quoi donc? Être né comme ça. Vraiment? Pouvez-vous vous imaginer faire face à un miroir et voir ça en train de vous fixer? Oui, je peux. À votre avis, d'où vient-elle? Vous pensez qu'elle a une famille? Yes, she does.
Look, I know a lot of people have issues with Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique, and trust me, I'm one of those people. But this is the only time I didn't mind the departure from the comics because Mystique is absolutely wonderful in this movie. She doesn't simply serve the story also allows her character to evolve and grow. Matthew Vaughn's X-Men First Class sets up her character, and what happens here is a natural progression. She has been with Charles Xavier. He has tried to control her by stopping her from being herself in a way, so she left him. Went to Magneto but found out he was an asshole who wants to control her in some way as well.
Are you still Charles's Raven? Or are you Mystique?
So she left him. It is revealed that in the future, the humans will capture Mystique, will experiment on her to control her gifts and use it to their advantage. The great thing about this scene is that while Mystique stops Magneto from carrying out his public execution, she still wants revenge on Trask for killing and torturing a bunch of mutants. When she gets talked out of it by Charles, the final decision is made by choice. She doesn't do it because of Charles.
Shut her down, Charles.
I've been trying to control you ever since the day we met. And look where that's got us.
She doesn't do it because Magneto told her not to. She doesn't do it because some other human character is controlling her. she makes the choice of being better, or breaking the cycle.
What if she's meant to kill Trask? What if this is just simply who she is? Just because someone stumbles, loses their way, doesn't mean they're lost forever.
I know this movie could be seen as another X-Men movie centered around Wolverine, but that's not how I see it at all. To me, Wolverine is more of a tool in this movie. The story is more about Charles, Eric, and Raven. This movie shows us exactly why Charles is right and Eric is wrong through the eyes of Raven. Logan traveled back in time to stop Raven from committing her very first murder. The movie makes it seem like Raven's genes are what really matter, when in reality, what matters is breaking the cycle and showing the humans that despite all the cruelties, discrimination, tortures, and murders, the mutants will not answer with violence. If Eric succeeded and managed to execute all these politicians, the mutants would have lost, and Logan would have failed his mission, despite the fact that the humans didn't get Raven's genes. Because Magneto would have started a war that would have resulted in even more deaths on both sides.
I know what Trask has done, but killing him will not bring them back. It will set you on a path from which there is no return, and end the cycle of killing us and them till there is nothing left. But we can stop it right now, you and I.
Days of Future Past is a movie about breaking the cycle of hate. And just like any other story that tackled this subject matter wonderfully, The Last of Us Part 2, the resolution comes from the decision of being the better person. The reason Professor X is a broken man when we meet him is because by reminding himself of how important his philosophy is to his kind, he can remind Raven of who she is. The reason Magneto is sort of a one-dimensional character and hasn't really evolved beyond first class at this point is because there is no nuance in his way of thinking. But the movie shows us just how far he's willing to go and how dangerous his philosophy is, even to his own kind. And finally, the reason we follow Raven throughout the film is because she has been influenced by both of these men's philosophies and has inherited both of their methods. She doesn't kill, just like Charles, but will go as far as breaking the law if it means saving her people, just like Magneto. Until this final scene, she didn't really seem to have made a choice. This is where the movie puts her between Charles and Eric's philosophy, and she had the choice to either break the cycle by showing the humans that the mutants were better than just dangerous freaks, or murder the man who, let's face it, deserved it, and choose Eric's approach to the situation, and prove to the human race that they are indeed right to fear the mutants. While Charles is there to be the voice of reason, Raven is the one who makes the final choice based on who she is and what she feels is right. I also love this scene because it mirrors the final scene in X-Men First Class beautifully. While Charles couldn't get through to Eric because his heart was just filled with way too much hatred for humans, he succeeds at redeeming Mystique, a perfect contrast between a heart filled with rage and hatred and a conflicted heart filled with pain. And that is exactly why this scene works perfectly.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!